Calling this meeting of Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness to order. Rep. Cooper, please lead us in the pledge. Thank you. Jamie, please call the roll.
Chairman Solomon,
Here.
Representative Borowski, Representative Brown, designation, Representative Doherty,
Here.
Representative Genst, Representative Haddock, designation, Representative Ingalls, designation, Representative Monroe, designation, Representative O'Mara, designation, Representative Pielli, designation, Representative Sappi, designation, Representative Scott, designation,
Online.
Oh, he's online. Representative Takak, designation. Representative Webster, designation. Chairman Gillen,
Here.
Representative Banta, Representative Bashline, Representative Cooper, Representative Ham,
Online.
Representative Kerwin, Representative Krupa, Representative Major, Representative Rigby, Representative Stender, Representative Wattrow, Representative Williams. Okay. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Jamie. Our first item of business is House Bill 2024, authored by Representative Schusterman. I will call that up. Representative Schusterman, your comments, please.
Thank you, Chair Solomon, for the opportunity to address my colleagues today. And I want to extend my appreciation to Rep. Shuren, my co-prime, for her support. With nearly 700,000 veterans living in our Commonwealth, it's incredibly important that our legislative body continues our bipartisan work to honor and support our veterans. House Bill 2024 expands training for county veteran assistant directors to include trauma-informed care, military sexual trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, and traumatic brain injury. Because military sexual trauma is not well understood, I want to focus today on MST. Military sexual trauma is often referred to as MST. MST is an experience of sexual assault or sexual harassment that occurred during military service. To be clear, this is on-the-job sexual assault and harassment. And recent data shows that nearly 1 in 3 women and 1 in 50 men in the armed forces report having experienced sexual assault or sexual harassment during their military service. And these numbers are widely accepted to be an undercount. As with other forms of trauma, survivors of MST live with their experiences in different ways, and their mental and physical health may be significantly affected for years to come. We owe it to our veterans to see that the staff supporting them are best equipped to meet their needs. Let me say that again. I'm sorry, I have a cold. We owe it to our veterans to see that the staff supporting them are best equipped to meet their needs. And I want to thank you again to Chair Solomon, and I ask my colleagues for a yes vote on House Bill 2024.
Thank you so much, Representative Schusterman. Are there any comments or questions for the representative? Chair Gillen.
Thank you very much, Representative Schusterman. My daughter and I were working out this morning, and she is in the Army, and so certainly appreciate this initiative. I had a brief question as to why the County Veterans Affairs Director of the association statewide is neutral on this. Do you have any insight you could help us with there?
I don't have any insight on neutral. I think I'm speculating that anytime there's something new to learn, there might be some resistance.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for your work on this bill.
Okay, are there any negative votes on House Bill 2024? House Bill 2024 moves unanimously to the floor for consideration. Thank you, Representative Schusterman. We will
Thank
now,
you.
sure. We will now take up House Resolution 374, authored by Representative Krupa. Representative Krupa, please comments on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I get into the resolution, I would just like to say briefly what an honor it's been to serve on this committee. It's been uplifting to serve on a committee where we can set partisan beliefs aside and move forward on important issues such as serving and protecting our veterans. And I must commend both the majority and minority chairman for always being in good spirits and having a positive outlook. And I hope that the House at large can look at your example and that we can move forward productively as well. So
Could you repeat that again? I didn't hear it when you said.
I am quick to give out criticisms, but I hope I'm equally as quick to give out praise. And it has been a huge honor to serve on this committee.
It's very kind of you, Representative. Thank you.
Thank you. With respect to this resolution, and I will keep it brief, but I was able to interact with my local Catholic war veterans recently in honor of some momentous things that were happening. And it came to my attention that this is the 90-year history of this particular organization. And I'd like to read something just from the resolution very briefly. And because I think this really sums up the heart of this. Through prayer and action, through faith and fellowship, the Catholic war veterans have stood at the intersection of devotion and duty, reminding us that patriotism is not only love of country, but also love of neighbor. So this particular resolution, the House of Representatives, if it passes, will designate it 2025 as the year of the Catholic war veterans of the United States of America in Pennsylvania, in honor of the organization's 90-year history of enduring service to faith, family, and country. And I'd ask an affirmative vote.
Thank you, Representative. Are there any comments or questions? Chair Gillen?
Thank you for the very kind words. We are very grateful for this enduring, congressionally chartered organization, and we hope it continues for many, many more years. Thank you very much.
Any negative votes? House Resolution 374 moves unanimously to the floor for consideration. We're joined by Representative Craig Williams. Thanks for joining us. I will now bring up House Bill 1379, authored by Representative Stender. Before getting to the underlying bill, Representative Stender offers an amendment 01595. Representative Stender, if you could please take up that amendment first.
Thank you, Chairman. This amendment to the underlying bill would, this is just some stuff we worked through with DCNR to really make sure that this bill truly does help in the way that we were hoping, that allows DCNR the authority to reimburse some of these members by creating this other fund.
Are there any questions or comments on the amendment? Seeing none, are there any negative votes? Amendment is adopted. Now we will take up House Bill 1379 as amended. Back to you, Representative Stender.
Chairman, thank you for bringing this bill before the committee. I truly appreciate the bipartisan support that we've had in crafting this legislation. Just a little background, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this is legislation that truly did come from the district. In most of our districts here, we all have local volunteer firefighters who also volunteer to be wildland firefighters. It is a small subset of volunteer firefighting that even I, as somebody who enjoys being a fireman, I am not a wildland firefighter. I do not claim to be. I think it is a job that is very selfless, and it is difficult at times having to climb up some of these ranges and mountains here in Pennsylvania. And a lot of these members also do then qualify to deploy out west during the summer, during the height of wildfire season. However, one of the things that was brought to our attention is if we could help reimburse some travel, some training. These guys quite literally leave their families at a moment's notice to go all over the state of Pennsylvania to help protect everybody when a wildfire strikes. And I think one of the small nuances that we learned was that there was this cutout that they could not be reimbursed for various trainings. And some of these trainings do actually involve live fire training. So we were asking these volunteers to basically commute an hour, 2 hours away to train, but we weren't able to reimburse them through the letter of the law. So this really fixes that portion of the law, and this would, it's a small token to show our appreciation to some of these volunteers. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Stender. Any questions or comments? Chair Gillen.
Thank you, Representative. And I want to say that this is prototypical of how a legislator should conduct himself. There was local issues. You were responsive to constituent needs. You utilized your own expertise in this particular area. And I was thinking about the bill this morning, and I lived in the middle of a national forest for a number of years. I was working at a camp there, and it was almost at 9,000 feet in the Rockies. And while we were out there, there was smoke off in the distance, and it was it was in 1994, the South Canyon Fire, Storm King Mountain. There were 14 firefighters that were killed in that particular tragedy. And your bill deals with public safety. It deals with reimbursement, reports, and efficiencies. And ultimately, at the end of the day, this is what should distinguish us as legislators working for the public good. So I commend you on your effort, and I heartily plan on supporting this bill and expect a unanimous vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chair. Any negative votes on House Bill 1379 as amended? Seeing none, House Bill 1379 as amended moves to the floor unanimously for consideration. I will now bring up House Bill 1380, also authored by Representative Stender. First, Representative Stender has an amendment, 01594. I go back to you, Representative Stender, for the amendment.
Thank you, Chairman. This amendment would just help the underlying bill really brings in some data points that DCNR thought was more in line with what they're already doing in a way that doesn't create more work or more man hours to produce a report they already do. So this really was a bipartisan effort to try to make sure we're streamlining and being as efficient as possible with people's time.
Thank you. Comments? Any negative votes? A01594 is adopted unanimously. And now we will take up the underlying bill, House Bill 1380, as amended. Representative Stender.
Again, I would just like to express my appreciation to the chairman, to staff on both sides of the aisle for their hard work and diligence in making sure that we had a piece of legislation here that was ready to go to the floor and that also met the needs the expectations I had, while also working with DCNR to make sure this is something that they could easily report to us without creating more paperwork, more man hours. The underlying bill here really, this is a report that DCNR already does. The state fire warden already completes this. However, it just stays within DCNR. And after going to being on some Zoom calls with DCNR, I thought this is the type of stuff that we as legislators should really understand where our investment in DCNR, a small portion of our investment through the state budget goes, and it really will hopefully educate everybody on what's really occurring out there and the good work that DCNR is completing on our state-owned land. So this is something that's already being done. I just thought it was important that this report now is pushed out to us here in the legislature so we have a better understanding of what's really occurring with our state budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Any comments? Chair Gillen.
Just a few moments. This bill really checks all the boxes. There was substantial stakeholder input, which is important. DCNR was a partner in this. There were exhaustive communications to make sure that we got this right the first time through. It was done on a bipartisan basis. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any negative votes? House Bill 1380 moves to the floor as amended unanimously for consideration. Any other business before the committee? I have one item before everyone dashes. Okay. To get the competitive juices going, we have a letter here. We have a couple signatures, but we are in competition with our other states to be the site for testing and training unmanned aircraft. This is a hot one. We want to bring this to Pennsylvania. We don't want it to go to Jersey or New York or where. Let's bring it to PA. So folks at DMVA believes, and I think they're correct, that we should put this in a bipartisan way to the congressional delegation, all members, R's and D's, and I would love if we could have every member of this committee sign on. This would be a great asset for our Commonwealth. So come see me, sign, and oh yeah, already we got a taker, Representative Gent. So please follow her lead. Thank you all so much. This meeting is adjourned.